One of the issues the ANC is tackling at its policy conference this weekend is immigration and how people move around southern Africa. Now, Home Affairs Minister Dr Aaron Motsoaledi has said that the ANC will be looking at 3 different ways of making a change, which would include having special immigration courts. And of course, this happens as his department is facing 4 different court applications relating to the termination of Zimbabwean Exemption Permits. So a spokesperson on that issue, Advocate Simba Chitando, joined us via our video link this morning. Advocate Chitando, it's great to have you with us on the program. And before we start with the policy conference leg of our discussion with you this morning, there are those 4 court applications, right, that are underway insofar as the scrapping of Zimbabwean permits are concerned. I mean, this affects thousands of permit holders who have been living in South Africa for many, many years, many decades, some would say, who now face deportation just by the stroke of a pen come December.
That's right. I think it's 3 major court applications that will be heard in the Gauteng division. On Friday, there was a meeting with the Judge President of the Gauteng division, acting Judge President of the Gauteng division, and the dates that the matters will be heard on the 5th, 6th, and the 7th of October. So that is an update as far as the litigation is concerned in that matter. Yes, so 3 major organizations.
So what do you make of what Home Affairs Minister Dr Aaron Motsoaledi and a number of ANC officials have said insofar as the discussions around immigration and the tightening of borders is concerned, and the direction that those discussions have taken so far?
Okay, great question. The ANC is the ruling party in this country. They have the right to discuss policy changes, and as government, when it gets to the level of government, they also have a right to make decisions based on whatever they've decided at executive level, and if necessary, they would like to, in this case, change the Immigration Act. They have the right to go to Parliament and put any legislation that they would like before Parliament for approval. But the most important thing for the ANC to understand, and not just the ANC, but all regional, all the countries in our region and the international community and the people living within the country who are not South African citizens, is that whatever decision that the ANC makes has to be consistent with the South African Constitution. The South African Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So it's not open for the ANC to put any legislation that does not pass constitutional scrutiny. That's important. That's one. And the second point is that South Africa is not an island. Whatever policy decisions that are made by the ANC impact and affect South Africa's trading partners. This includes Zimbabwe, it includes Mozambique, it includes Namibia. And if the changes, the overall that I have not seen it, no one has, but if the overhaul that they're discussing frustrates business and trade and relations with those countries, then there might be a problem. We have seen a problem, obviously, in the ZEP case that's ongoing in the judiciary. And the next point, the final point, is probably the most significant, is international law. South Africa is a signatory of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which is the free trade of goods, services, and people. The policy, I've not seen it, but it sounds as though there may be friction with the international agreement that South Africa has entered into with the African region as a whole. So those are my comments. The ANC can they've got the right to do the policies, etc., and put the laws before, but they have to pass constitutional scrutiny, and they have to be consistent with South Africa's obligations to the African region in terms of the free trade agreement.
Yeah. So those are the considerations as a country, the geopolitical considerations as well that you've outlined insofar as relationships with neighboring countries is concerned. There's, of course, a human cost to it as well. A whole generations maybe, of Zimbabweans who have been living in South Africa, going to school in South Africa, their children have been growing up in South Africa, now face going back home to a situation they've tried to escape.
Well, everyone's circumstance is different. There are Zimbabweans who call South Africa home, and they don't have any other home but South Africa. They are obviously unhappy. There are many Zimbabweans who are, many people, I think Dr. Motsoaledi does not realize that there are many Zimbabwean South African households.
Yeah.
You cannot split the two in half. It's impossible to distinguish in the next 10 years, maybe even, between Zimbabweans and South Africans. Pretty much the same people. And you have many Zimbabweans here who know more about South Africa than Zimbabwe, who consider South Africa their base. And for them, going to Zimbabwe would be a culture shock. In the case of students, they've been going through the South African school curriculum for all their lives, and their parents are ZDP holders, and they they might have to go to Zimbabwe and start a new syllabus from scratch. It will disrupt thousands of people's lives. So we are dealing with a human disaster with the ZDP matter. But I'm confident that the courts will give justice for the people.
Yeah. Advocate Simba Chitando, let me thank you for your time this morning. Thanks for weighing in on this discussion. And of course, those are those court applications that you're talking about insofar as the termination of the ZEP is concerned. Thanks very much indeed for weighing in.